According to Kelley Blue Book, the average transaction price consumers paid for a new vehicle in July was over $48,000. And if you're in the market for a new vehicle, this might give you sticker shock, as they call it. Jen Burke from the Maine Credit Union League is here to offer some tips to keep in mind before making that new car purchase. Jen, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, $48,000 is a big investment for a lot of Maine families, for any Maine family these days.
Yeah. Well, what's it seems like the average price of vehicles right now is very high. So is now a good time to buy a car?
Well, experts say that December is typically the best month to buy a vehicle. At the end of the month is even better because dealers want to get rid of their inventory. They want to make not only their monthly sales quotas, but they want to make their annual sales quotas, and they want older inventory to move off the lot to make way for new. But not everybody can wait until December. And there's good deals to be had throughout the year. You got to just do your homework and price shop. But if you aren't in a position to wait a few months and you need a car now, if your circumstances have changed, then you need to figure out how you're going to account for such a big expense.
Exactly. And how do people, keeping that in mind, how do people plan for such a big new expense?
Well, the first thing you need to do is determine what you can feasibly afford. Don't go shopping for a Ferrari if you really aren't in the market for an economy car.
Dang it.
Everybody wants the fancy wheels, but you need to be smart with your budget. And they say you shouldn't put more than 20% of your income toward a vehicle. Now, that's just not monthly payment. That is car insurance, registration, gas, if you drive the Maine Turnpike every day, factor in tolls, parking. There's a lot to owning a vehicle, so you really need to be able to figure out what you can afford when you're in the new car market. Shop around by all, and sometimes the best deals can be had online. And then if you're able to, if you're in that position, save for a down payment. If you've got a few months, you can tuck money aside, and sometimes having a down payment will help with your interest rate. You'll want to get pre-approved in advance, visit your credit union near your local bank. And then, of course, if you don't have extra money to put towards the down payment, which is, of course, an ideal situation, do you currently have a vehicle? Is it something you can trade in or sell? Because that is money you can use toward a down payment, which will lower your monthly costs. But again, not everyone is in that position. So you really need to figure out what's best for you. But it is a big investment. So I encourage people to take the time, if they are able to make a smart financial decision.
Absolutely. And lastly, Jen, when the car is bought, it's registered, it's insured, any additional tips for car buyers?
Well, again, keep those extras in mind. What's your gas going to cost? What's your registration going to cost? I remember when I purchased my first vehicle, I had put so much money aside that when I went to go register the vehicle, I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to cover this? So make sure before you make that purchase, you can cover all of those extra costs. Also, you want to maintain vehicle wear and tear stuff. Make sure your tires, the oil changes, do all that stuff because it lengthens the life of your vehicle. And then one last bit of advice, if you can, automate your payments. It's like set it and forget it. That way you're never late for a car payment. You've got it set every single month so that those payments are happening on time.
Absolutely. All right, some savvy advice if you're in the market for a new car. Jen, thanks so much for stopping by once again.
Thank you.
Good to see you. All right, here's a look at